Welcome! Each week I go through the data published on the coronavirus and do a statistical analysis to see if I can see what's going on. This video covers the week ending the 15th of June 2020, and I've subtitled it Underestimates. Those of you that have seen my previous presentation will be quite familiar with this plot, but I'll explain what it is for those that haven't. The red curve here shows the number of confirmed COVID cases as a function of time. It shows that we're nearly at 8 million cases. But there's more information in that plot than just the numbers itself. You can look at trends. If we go back a couple of months and project forward the rate at which the infection should be spreading, we follow this dotted line here. But you notice that the actual data has deviated to the left of that curve. That means the rate of infections are accelerating. And if you project those forward, you see that the deviation compared with what was shown last week is much larger. So this is a distinct and strong acceleration that we're seeing. You can look at that another way using the new data, which is the bar chart shown in the background here. And the scale for that is on the right. You can fit a line through that increase in new cases like this, and again you can see that the number of new cases is accelerating plainly. There's another way of looking at this. You can ask yourself, how long does it take to go from 0 to 1 million cases? How long to go from 1 million to 2 million cases, and so on? We went from 0 to 1 million cases in 63 days. We went from 1 million to 2 million in just 28 days, less than half as long. 3 and 4 million took about 2 weeks. 5 and 6 million took about 10 days. And currently we're at a rate of increase of 1 million every 7 days. Now, it doesn't look as though it's going to accelerate much past that, but we'll have to see. Let's see how the pandemic is distributed around the globe. Of great concern is the United States. Also, Canada and Mexico are not doing very well. South America, in particular Brazil, are having problems, and Chile for that matter. Russia is having large increases in its daily numbers. And though it may not look it from the map, India seems to be starting to have problems now. So we need to keep an eye on that. So what countries seem to be able to handle this problem and doing the best with it, and what countries are not handling it very well? Well, we can measure that in two terms. One is the largest increases, and I've just mentioned the countries here that had over 50,000 cases in the last week, and that is Brazil, United States, India, and Russia. In terms of percentage increase, that would be greater than 30% increase, South Africa, Egypt, and India. Countries that seem to be doing best with this are the ones with the smallest increase, and that's less than 200. That is China, Norway, Ireland, and Australia. In terms of percentage, those with basically less than 1% increases are Ireland and China. Let's take a look at the United States in a bit more detail. It was announced the other day that of the 50 states, 22 of them are actually got increasing COVID cases rather than declining COVID cases. So they may well have opened up too early. Two of the worst states as far as this is concerned is Texas and Florida. When this process started in the United States in February, it peaked in April as far as the number of new cases are concerned, and since then there was a steady decline until about the end of May, when the number of cases has stubbornly remained quite high, in fact might even be slightly increasing. There's been a great deal of controversy in the media as to whether the numbers advertised about COVID-19 deaths are either an undercount or an overcount. There are some new studies just coming out that seem to resolve this problem. This is the death rates for the 20 Italian provinces, about half of which were hit with COVID-19. The black curve is the 2020 data, and the blue curve in there is the average of the previous 5 years. And you can see very plainly that the states that didn't have a COVID-19 outbreak didn't have any excess mortality rate. There are at least 8 provinces here that do have a peak just after the first COVID case was announced. so these can be reasonably associated with the death rate from COVID-19. Now, these figures don't add up to what Italy was saying what the death rate was throughout this time period. In fact, they add up to something much greater. So this would say that overall, doctors are undercounting the number of COVID-19 cases in their areas. Apparently, Italy has fairly thorough records, whereas some other countries are not keeping such uniform records, and one of those countries is the United States. So we can expect there's a major undercount of the number of COVID-19 related deaths in the United States. One can ask whether we have our priorities correct. On the left we have a picture of armed police trying to prevent US citizens from demonstrating about police violence. There seems to be no shortage of respirators, goggles, face shields, gloves and protective body armor, which probably cost thousands of dollars per policeman. On the right, we have what some of our healthcare professionals had to resort to, which is wearing garbage bags in order to protect themselves from the COVID virus when they were trying to treat their patients. This seems to be a completely upside down set of priorities to me. Even as things open up, whether it be prematurely or not, you should still be following the CDC guidelines, and those are: clean your hands often with soap and water or with hand sanitizer with a high percentage of alcohol in it. Avoid close encounters with people who are sick. Put a distance between yourself and other people, at least 6 feet. Cover your mouth and nose with a cloth face cover when around others. Cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue and then throw the tissue away in the trash. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects and surfaces daily. So until next time, please heed this advice, stay safe, stay well, and goodbye.